Typhoon Kammuri has been struggling to maintain its intensity over the course of today and has winds of 80 miles per hour and a pressure of 982 millibars according to our latest estimates at 9 p.m. Philippine time this November 28th. The storm moving fairly slowly in a northwesterly direction at this time, but still a major threat to the Philippine Islands. The CDPS looks at Catanduanes for a possible landfall on December 2nd. Stage 7 on the CDPS, it could make landfall as a Category 4 with rainfall amounts over 500 millimeters. Catastrophic potential for damage. Here's the wind field right now. It's shrunk a little bit. But it will probably rebound soon. 13.3 degrees north, 138 degrees east. And its intensity will probably rebound as well pretty soon too. This is probably just a temporary thing. It's currently 256 miles from Yap, 454 from Palau, 882 from Tacloban, 994 from Naga, and 1134 from the capital, Manila. No warnings are in effect at this time. This is the storm's location in association with all of those islands. Obviously closest to Yap, so if there were any warnings then they would have been in effect for that island. But the storm is sufficiently far enough for no warnings to be in place yet. This is the expected rainfall in the next 7 days, and you'll be able to make out the track of the storm as it moves along here as well. You'll see the pink areas start to extend as the storm moves further towards the west. Pink areas denote rainfall amounts of over 75 millimeters, and it will be massively above that in the central path of the storm. Now you can see there that pink tongue extending through the middle part of the Philippines, southern Luzon, and indeed over Manila, probably 100 millimeters plus there at least. There is still a significant threat that the typhoon will affect the capital and all of those areas there in southern Luzon. Sea surface temperatures around 28-29 degrees Celsius. May drop ever so slightly as it moves towards the Philippines, but certainly warm enough to sustain a significant typhoon. And this is a look at the wind profile. So that stalling motion, slow motion at least, will occur in the next 24 to 36 hours. That will be the time when the storm's really going to struggle the most at intensifying, but once we get to the weekend, as it moves towards the west, speeds up, we could see some maybe even rapid intensification as it moves towards the islands. The GFS certainly on board with a very strong landfall there, probably Category 4 on Catanduanes and then onto Luzon itself, straight through there and then out into the South China Sea late next week. And these are the chances of tropical storm force winds in the next 5 days. So these chances will continue to rise. We're now up to 39% at Virac, 30% at Naga, 30% also at Legazpi, 22% at Dilasag, and 18% at Manila. These are what the models are saying. The HWRF calling for a Category 5 at this point. The JTWC calling for a super typhoon, at least briefly, before weakening before striking the Philippines. Actually, JTWC only calling for a Category 3 landfall only, but that is still very significant. But we can't rule out Category 4 or even Category 5 for the Philippines. We know what it's like at this time of year. But the way we are right now, we're getting towards December, is a little bit further north than Bopa, for instance, which was at a very similar time of year. So sea surface temperatures will be cooler, so the odds are that the storm will probably weaken a little bit before landfall, but it depends just how strong it gets before then. Looking at the satellite imagery, you can see how the organization hasn't been that great in the last few frames. The center is probably moving towards the northwest, but it's difficult to ascertain that on the infrared imagery at the moment. Still very high cloud tops on the southern and southeastern side of the storm, and I think this will be temporary and we'll start to see some more strengthening later. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com. You can also find our YouTube channel. If you're not there already, you may well be. Good chance of that. Subscribe if you haven't. You can also find our Facebook page, search Force 13 all in text, and our Twitter handle, it's @Force13 on there. You can also help the project become even better by becoming a patron. You can see more information about all the benefits involved by visiting patreon.com/Force13. With a special thanks to these people for being our most valued patrons this month. You can also check out our growing merch store so you can show Force 13's colours wherever you go. You can also find a link to our Discord server underneath this video in the description.